Morning, y'all. First and foremost, I would like to state that I am not an air conditioner collector. I am not. Emphatically, I am not an air conditioner collector. So now that we've got that out of the way, I could not resist. Here is a 1961 Coldspot that just came home, and it's funny because I'm house hunting, and I've been house hunting for a few years now. I live in Southern California where, houses are not exactly super plentiful in the affordable range. So, you take your time looking for a house, and when you look at a lot of houses that are older and in not so wonderful condition, it seems like you find appliances like this that are derelict and nobody wants. And I got recently a 1967 Friedrich that came out of a house I was looking at, and then I didn't end up buying that house, and then another house I was looking at, this was stuck in the wall of a garage, and I could tell that I decided not to buy that house, and I could tell that even though I wasn't going to buy the house, I could tell that whoever bought the house is going to tear the wall down where this was in. So I made a deal on this and pulled it out of the wall, and that was an experience that I truly hope not to ever repeat in my life. Both the Friedrich and this 1961 Coldspot, were mounted in wall, and the Friedrich was pulled out for me, but this 1961 Coldspot was not. I had to do it, and it was such a pain to pull this out of the wall. I can't even talk about how much of a pain that was. I really hope never to have to do that again. But this, with the addition of this 1961 Coldspot, that brings the total number of air conditioners I have to 4. I have a 55 Westinghouse, this 61 Coldspot, and the 67 Friedrich, and a 1970 Carrier Cosmopolitan. So that is more than enough, and I will not be buying. I have never bought any of these. These are all free. They are all giveaways. And they all work, which says something about their quality. But anyway, I was super pleased to get this because I thought that the aesthetic was really interesting, and it's the second oldest air conditioner in the fleet of appliances here. And the thing that kind of struck me when I was able to get it out of the wall and examine it was that the overall condition of it seems to be excellent. There was power in the wall before I pulled it out, so I was able to test it in wall, and the fan powered on, and it blew cold. So it works. It seems to work great. I actually don't know how that happened. I don't know how I got it to work, because if you look down in there, maybe a little bit dim, but if you look down in there, there were vine branches growing through the case, but for some reason they must have been out of the way enough for it to operate. So before I turn it on again, I'm going to have to go through it and pull those vines out of there. But that is a very interesting looking compressor. I haven't seen one that looks quite like that. Overall, I mean, it's dirty, but it looks to me, there are indicators on this one that looks like the use has been very light. It was kind of in a protected area where I pulled it out of the wall. It was kind of in a protected area, so maybe the weather didn't really get to it. And I noticed something, this area next to the condensing coils on a lot of these old portable units, this area typically is rusted. If it's not rusty on the outside, it's certainly rusty on the inside, because this is a slinger wheel design where the fan blade has got a ring that slings water up against the condensing coils, and so typically water drips down and it sits in the tray, and then it gets flung against these to cool it, and so this gets rusty because there's no drain holes, because that's not the design. But this unit is not rusty over here, not visibly anyway. It's not rusty. This is only slightly rusty just because the paint wore off, but that's original gray paint, I believe. And there's really not much dust and dirt caked in here that I can see. So that to me says that the unit probably saw pretty light use. Even though it is dusty and dirty, you know, I mean, in general, it's not as crusty as some of the other units I've seen. So that's pretty wonderful. And it like I said, it works. So that was a plus. It's got the original wiring diagram. It was so difficult to pull this out of the wall because the wall was stucco on the outside, and the stucco had really kind of compressed the top of the case here. So I actually had to break the wall to get it out. So that wasn't too fun because I couldn't slide it out past the condensing coil box. The box wouldn't come out of the case because it was catching on the weather seal retainer flap in there, because the top of the box was pressed down just enough. But yeah, like I said, overall condition seems really good. That logo was cool. The L broke off sometime before me. Barely even looks like there was one even there. I can't even see the stump practically. It's yellowed, but it's still not broken. It even has the knurled retainer knobs for the grate. And the grate, you know, the directional louvers are in good condition. Kind of a complicated design there. I wish, I was kind of disappointed. This should say a product of Sears. Oops, sorry. A product of Sears across here with a little atomic logo. That's missing. Who knows if I'll ever be able to find or replace that. All kind of depends on where eventually I will put this so it can be used. But yeah, so pretty pleased to get it and add it to the fleet, and I think that that'll do me well for a while. It's a pretty simple air conditioner, just like the 1955 Westinghouse. Pretty bare bones, no interesting features about it. Off, fan, single speed fan if you just have it on fan. High, low, I assume this is a damper, fresh air and exhaust, something like that. And thermostat, kind of funny, automatic cooling. I guess they figured that having a thermostat meant automatic cooling. Marketing, gotta love it. Anyway, it's dirty, but it'll clean up well. Oh, here's the data plate. Let's see if I can get it to focus. 11,000 BTU. And let's see if I can hold the camera still enough. Get it to focus. 106.61170. Huh. Pretty long serial number. 115 volt. F22 refrigerant. Yep. So when I make a run video of this, I'll be sure to post it, but I have to blow the case out and do some washing. It's kind of interesting. Insulating material. It's kind of fibrous. Like I said, it was hard to pull it out, so I'm surprised I didn't damage it pulling it out of the case. But when I clean it up, it'll look pretty good. And who knows what I'll do with it. Maybe I'll sell it, or maybe I'll find a place to put it, because, you know, how many of these things can you collect? Because they are so bulky, they take up so much room. Anyway, thanks for watching, and when I make another video of it running, y'all be the first to know. Thanks.